Mercedes says the W13 with the zeropod concept in Miami shows a glimpse of its potential. According to team boss Toto Wolff, the package is capable of competing at the forefront, and the team would do well to stick to this sensitive concept. The German manufacturer took a whole load of updates, including an extremely reworked front wing and a low-drag rear wing to Miami. In free practice 3, Mercedes gave Russell a different setup, but for qualifying he still reverted to Friday's configuration. This was not a good decision. He qualified as 12th. Teammate Lewis Hamilton qualified 6th, and that makes Toto Wolff optimistic. The Mercedes team boss says the W13's potential is being held back by porpoises, but Miami is proof that Mercedes would do well to keep faith in the current concept. We believe that our concept has the potential to compete at the front, but it is a sensitive concept, says the Austrian. It's just hard to find at this point. Our floor is much more fragile than our competitors. We do believe that this is the right direction. In Barcelona, we can compare the car with our launch car. Then comes the moment when we have to decide what to do next year. But you can't just write off the season and focus on next year. It doesn't work like that. The rules don't change anyway. Every weekend we understand the car better. We have already told that this would be an experimental weekend for us. As is well known, the W13 suffered the most of porpoising, and that means the British team can't get all the potential out of the car. Friday was very rough, but according to Wolff, a change in the setup has ensured that the team starts to understand when the bumping comes into play. On Friday, we got a glimpse of when the car has been set up correctly. He continues. However, a minimal change had a bad influence, especially at the end of qualifying. Our drivers were again very bothered by the porpoising. This had a big effect on the braking zones and the tires, so we finished 12th and 6th. It's a tough time for us. We were hoping for something better. After Miami race, Toto Wolff says Mercedes is currently still flying through the fog. The team boss of the Silver Arrows knows that there's potential in the W13, but at the same time recognizes that it's very difficult to get it out. George Russell and Lewis Hamilton crossed the line in 5th and 6th respectively in Miami, an acceptable result given Mercedes' current position, but the sudden turnaround in performance over the weekend is cause for concern. For example, Russell set the fastest lap time during the second free practice session, but did not get further than 12th on the grid during qualifying. Wolff says they've had a hard time from the start of the season. Obviously, there's potential in the car, and it's really fast. We just don't understand how to unlock that potential, he said. It's a car that would probably be extremely difficult to drive on the edge. It keeps shooting in and out of the performance window, more out of it than in. And investigating all the data is just a painful process because it takes a very long time. Mercedes has struggled with porpoising since the first race, but an additional unexpected problem is a lack of correlation between the data and what the drivers are saying. The data sometimes doesn't show what the drivers are telling us. They clearly have many problems with a car that is not comfortable to drive and that's unpredictable, but the data doesn't show those big differences. We've never been in this situation before where what we see on the screen doesn't match what the drivers experience in the car. That makes it even more difficult. Lewis Hamilton does not believe that Mercedes has taken a step forward in the past 5 races. According to the 7-time world champion, the W13 is simply not fast enough. Hamilton has other thoughts about the concept than team boss Toto Wolff, who believes that the car is fast but that the potential still has to be used. Unfortunately, we have not improved in these 5 races. We have the same speed as in the first race, so we have to keep trying to improve. Hamilton continues his story. I'm hopeful that one day we'll do that. We just have to keep trying, keep working hard. According to the driver from Stevenage, it wasn't necessarily bad in Miami, but the W13 simply wasn't fast enough. Race to race, track to track, surface to surface, we can raise and lower the car, so Sunday wasn't really bad, just not fast. With this, Hamilton seems to have a different opinion than Wolff, who argues that the W13 is fast, but the potential is not yet used. Wolff says, we are not closer to understand the problems, there's still plenty of work for the next race on the calendar. The Mercedes team boss does not want to rule out a return to an older concept of the car. Wolff agrees that this cannot continue throughout the season. He tells and that returning to an older concept of the car is a possibility. What are your thoughts on the situation of Mercedes? Should they fall back to the older concept? Leave your comments below and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button to not miss any Formula 1 news.